So lately, the Kill Team community has been like totally wild with rumors and speculation, and Games Workshop is teasing stuff, and things are getting totally crazy, and we're so excited about the next big thing in Kill Team, and we're going to talk about what we think it might just be. So recently there have been a bunch of Warhammer community articles with like little teasers that people are linking to Kill Team. And then in the past few days there have been these like 2 little videos that are kind of clearly Kill Team. And it's awesome, right? Because it looks like kind of the next big moment in Kill Team is just around the corner.
There's going to be so many more teams to kill, dude.
I know, so many more rules to forget. There's a big announcement coming later this week that I think, kind of the general consensus is that we've got maybe a new edition or at least a new season of the game or whatever. There's a lot of stuff flying around, and we obviously are pretty invested in all of it, and just wanted to kind of do a bit of a roundup of some of the biggest rumors, what people think it's going to be, talk about the 4chan thing that I can't believe I just said the word. We're going to talk about the 4chan thing. That makes me sick, but we are going to look at it, unfortunately. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what we're hoping to see in the next season, the type of thing that would really excite us. Yeah, we're probably going to ramble a lot about Kill Team because this is the most exciting moment in Kill Team, it feels like, in years, this is... There's so much of a groundswell, and it's a great time to be killing teams.
All right, can we do those little things where it's like a little graphic before each rumor?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, rumor 1. You'll come up with something there. I'm sure it was great. I'm sure it was fabulous.
So basically for 2 years, Valrak has been saying that it's going to be Vespids and Scions for this next box. And based on the 2 little, couple seconds of videos that Games Workshop has put out, it certainly looks like that.
It's fairly obvious that he's right. He even, a couple of weeks ago, claimed he knew the name of the box, and that is the name that was on the Warhammer community article, Operation Hive Storm or something.
Right.
Whatever it was. I don't remember, but he was right.
I'm excited. I think that's great. I love seeing a new Xenos thing being thrown in, and one that's an old sculpt coming back. I think they're very, very cool. They've got... Attack of the Clones, Geonosian vibes.
Okay, who's painting? Who gets the Vespids and who gets the humans?
We both want the Vespids, right?
Obviously.
All right, I'm going to grab a die.
Right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're live on camera. Should we input? I'll get the phone cam.
Ready?
Okay. I got to beat a 4. What if we tie?
What should we roll?
50-50 to not lose. Disgusting.
Sick. All right, so I'm going to be playing the Vespids, which is exciting. It's been a while since we've had a team that seems this out of left field to me, and it looks cool. The kind of main speculation is that this season or this edition or setting or whatever is going to have a lot to do with flying and aerial combat, right? And I can't wait to see how they handle it, because fly always felt a bit wild in this last edition of Kill Team, right? Void Dancers and Pathfinder drones and stuff just had too much mobility a lot of the time. It'll be cool to see how they balance that, and how it'll interact with the teams that already exist, assuming the teams that already exist remain in the game.
Come back to that. Yeah.
What are you thinking about it?
I think the Vespids are 100% guaranteed to be sick.
Yeah.
We already know. I think the Scions, I don't know. I'm wondering, do you think it'll be a full flying team, or do you think it'll be mixed?
Honestly, I couldn't even speculate. I mean, they showed in that little video, and we'll show the still from it, there's a bunch of guys with jetpacks. So it kind of feels like that's the team.
If we're getting 2 full flying teams, we've had, how many full flying teams have we had before this? Just one, right?
Just
and
Void Dancers?
Nerfed?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that it?
I can't think of any other ones
that are full flying.
Yeah,
We've had
Void
flying
Dancers.
operatives, Hyrotech has 3 out of 8. But it's certainly not full flying.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting if we get 2 full flying teams and the terrain and the new rules are really flying focused. It's going to be interesting, like you said, how that fits in with the rest of the game. I'm really curious, because how could it not be busted? You know?
Right.
It's either going to be they're going to be busted on the old terrain, or everything else is going to be Shadow Realm garbage in like high buildings flying around terrain.
Right, or like, the flying teams on Into the Dark.
Like, look, I'm sure they've thought of this.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's an answer. We just don't know.
Smarter people than us are working on it.
But it's interesting. Yeah, I mentioned this before in another video. I don't remember where, but I was thinking about, like, do you think that they would upgrade existing teams with flying units?
Right, like throw a couple in on each of them.
Yeah.
Could. But then you've got, like, another purchase to make.
Yeah. Which they would love.
Yeah,
What's
right.
wrong with
That's
that?
true. Yeah, I think if it is flying, I'm excited to see how it works. I'm hesitant to see how it fits in with the existing game that we love. Time will tell. And, we'll kind of hopefully have more information after this weekend, right?
Yeah.
We don't, obviously, no one knows what they're going to show off, if they're going to show off anything, but, like, I have a hard time believing that we'll get, like, any, like, kind of mechanical information, but we might get a better idea of...
So you want to know my guess
maybe.
For what we get to see
Sure.
soon? So I'm thinking on the 16th, they drop the full trailer with nothing else. And then in the reveal stream on the Saturday, I think they will show the box contents. So we'll see probably the 2 teams and terrain, or we might only see like a couple units from, like a couple models from each team. But that just seems like, what are they doing if that's all they're showing? Like, it seems like they've hyped it up more than that.
That's a real drip
So my
feed.
guess is Friday we see the trailer, like the full cinematic
Right,
trailer.
like the Krieg and Orc running around like that.
I think we see that whole cinematic on Friday, and then the reveal stream on the Saturday is the box contents. Maybe like some information about the new edition.
Right.
I'm sure they'll say like this box is coming with a new edition if there is a new edition, but I think it's safe to assume at this point.
Yeah, it's what everyone seems to think. So
come back here after the reveal and comment how wrong we were.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe bet. They might talk about what is going to happen with the existing teams.
Yeah, I definitely hope so, because that is a burning question on my mind, and I'm sure on everyone's mind. I mean, like, we're kind of in a bit of a unique position in that, like, we each have half of the kill teams, over half, because we have a few doubles, right? Like, we have a lot of kill teams each, and a lot of time and money invested in, like, buying and painting them, and so...
But you know what? Now we're onto rumor 2, and there's 2... many kill teams. So what are they going to do about it?
That's interesting. There are too many kill teams.
Yeah, like we just watched Glass Half Dead put out a video today. Definitely check his channel out. He talks all about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think many people, including him, and many people have, talked about, Victor and I have talked about this a lot off camera, like, we're getting to the point, like, are they just going to keep adding kill teams? What, are we going to have, like, 100 kill teams? Like, there's too many factions. And then it's one thing for balance, but, like, you go to a game store and you're like, I have to know 500 kill teams. In, in 10 years, I want to have to know 500 kill teams to be able to,
Like, there are more kill teams than 40k armies right now.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it.
Totally. Because, I mean, think about it. Each one has, like, a few.
Like, balance aside, just from a playability standpoint, unless you're... like practicing all the time, the hardest part of the game is just going to be remembering what team you're facing. Like, what does this team actually do? I think there's just too many teams. And, like, we're at an okay place right now.
Yeah.
But, like, in another 3 years, it's going to be way too much. So it's interesting, like, I think they have to do something. It's a controversial thing to retire teams.
Right.
Do you want to bring up the website that shall not be named?
Yeah, sure. So on the stupid website where any idiot can post any single thing,
which is fair. To be fair, is like pretty much any website.
Yeah,
but this site has a history.
Yeah, and it's the anonymousness and the other shit. Anyway, so someone posted this list here, and it's kind of got some traction on the slightly less annoying message board website.
The main thing, like, most of this is like, yeah, whatever, kind of obvious or like nothing.
Right.
But the main thing that they're saying here is that after the first year of the new season or edition, likely edition, they will retire the teams that came out in the first year of the previous edition.
Right.
So basically, teams would have a 4-year shelf life. And then they'd gradually be cycling out teams. So after they've been in the rotation for 4 years, then they would go away and stop being in the competitive rotation. This is similar to like what a lot of trading card games do.
Right.
Like, there's different formats like Magic the Gathering, like Hearthstone. Lots of games do this where, if you keep printing cards, there becomes so many cards, it's impossible to keep track of. And then also, to add a new card,
Right.
It barely changes the meta because there's already so many cards. And there's problems
Yeah.
with power creep.
So I guess the one difference for me is that, like, in Magic, because I've never played Hearthstone, but in Magic anyway, which I can speak to a little bit, like, yeah, sets rotate out, but first, like, collecting cards feels different than painting.
It certainly does.
I mean, like,
it's not a one-to-one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make that argument.
And also, the best format of Magic the Gathering, you can use all of the cards, except for, like, a few.
Yeah, it's not exactly
Yeah.
the same, but I think when this new edition comes out, if they just immediately said all your teams from the previous edition were garbage and they're not usable,
Yeah, Sprugo.
I think that would be, like, people would be mad.
Yeah.
Obviously, no warning
Yeah.
is, like, really upsetting. And then also, okay, like, 4 years of shelf life, potentially, for teams like the Commandos, which came out with the starter set of the previous edition. Like, let's say the Hearthkin Jaeger have been out for, like, a few months,
Yeah.
and now they're like, oh, they're actually bricked.
Yeah.
Obviously, that would be very foolish, and that would anger a lot of people that
Yeah.
have gone out and bought, teams that have only recently come out with good reason. Like, that would be
Yeah.
absurd, I think. So I think this is a smart way to do it. I wonder if they're going to... The rumor says legacy. So I don't know what that means necessarily. It could mean
Right.
they just, like, stop supporting them with balance updates, and they're just like, this is a team forever. You can still play them casually,
Yeah.
but they're not going to be updated and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of like the old White Dwarf teams, or frankly, like Compendium teams.
Well, but I mean, like, you're allowed to play those, right? It's just they don't...
Well, like some of the White Dwarf, remember, they got replaced. Like the Compendium teams got replaced by the White Dwarves in some cases.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think, like... I think you're allowed in a tournament to play with Compendium AdMech.
Yeah, like I guess what I'm saying is
like
I wonder
it
if...
might be illegal.
I wonder if it will be more for them updating rules and for tournaments versus, like, will they not have rules at all?
Totally, yeah, for sure.
There's what I'm thinking.
Well, and, like, they can't stop you from playing with your toys. Just remember that.
Right, like, everybody that has been playing the current edition of Kill Team could keep playing that edition.
There's nothing stopping you.
Yeah, you don't have to switch to the new edition. If you and your friends don't want to switch, you don't have to switch. No one's telling you have to switch. People are still playing Mordheim.
Right.
And that game hasn't been officially updated in 15,
People
20
are still
years or
playing
something.
chess. How long has it been since that was updated?
So,
but I mean, the final thing I want to talk about with this stupid thing is that, like, I have an extremely hard time believing that someone who, like, presumably would have to be, like, working on the design team of this game to have all this insider information would undertake the risk of publishing this on 4chan for, like, no reward, right? Like, what would they get out of this? It's not like they're getting money from 4chan likes or upvotes or swastikas or whatever
well,
it is.
Are you going to say your hot take that you told me before?
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
I'll say it for you then.
Okay, well,
Victor
if we're going to say...
Victor was saying before, he was like, do you think there's any chance that a different Kill Team content creator, like someone that runs...
Not a specific one.
But like, do you think someone that runs a Kill Team content channel on YouTube, like, made that post just so they'd have something to talk about?
If they did, thank you very much, because we're here talking about it.
Maybe it's us. Maybe I did it. Wouldn't it be funny if I wrote it and then I just didn't even tell you? No, I didn't write it.
I don't think that a Kill Team content creator wrote it, but I also really don't think that anyone that knows anything wrote it. I think it's like a loose amalgamation of everything that people kind of just assume in the
like,
Discords and the subreddits.
It's like very cold... It's like all cold takes and one lukewarm take.
For clicks of, like, and you can't use your teams anymore either. Like, whatever.
Got him.
Next. Rumor number 3.
3.
What is rumor number 3?
Okay, I have a little bit.
Okay.
This isn't as juicy, but so they've been putting out these Chalnath articles, right? And they did one on the Militarum, basically the Scions.
Right.
And they did one on the Tau, and with, like, some, allied auxiliaries, whatever.
Yeah.
So the third one was about commandos. Okay.
Was it about commandos or just orcs? I looked at the picture. I didn't read it.
It was about commando. Well, they had a picture of commandos.
Oh, did they?
And I think it was talking about commandos. But there was a mention at one point of a mech boy, I believe.
Ah.
and wildly speculating. I saw some people on Reddit and other places on the internet speculating, like, are they going to bring, like, more, not elite, but, like, more character-y type
Well, I mean,
models over?
The Patriarch.
Exactly.
Right?
Like, they've done that in a few teams already, but, you know, potentially, like, the Commandos get an upgrade.
Yeah, that's
This is
cool.
kind of what I was talking about with, like, they could bring a flying guy in, they could bring, like...
That'd be cool.
I honestly doubt it.
But it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess, like, a lot of my favorite teams, now that I'm, like, kind of thinking of them, have, like, a big character like that. I really like the Patriarch. I love the Death Jester. And the Shadow Seer with the Void Dancers. Like, I like that sort of thing. It makes it feel a bit more...
Like one special guy?
Yeah, I don't... It, like, ties it in with the lore in a really cool way. Like, Justian, I enjoy playing Justian, and I don't know...
Star Striders?
Yep, totally.
You know, like, to have a rogue trader?
Yeah, I think named characters are cool, and more of that sort of stuff would be interesting. And I could see them, like, attempting to, like, bridge these two additions together that way. Cool. I didn't think of that, and I didn't hear that. But also, the picture of the Tau in the Tau article was not a Vespid, right? It was like a Tau in a battle suit or whatever they're called.
So who knows?
Who knows? But that's interesting, and I like that speculation. That one's true. Rumor confirmed.
There was a rumor there that a certain tinfoil hat wearing individual mentioned about the box after the next box.
Oh yeah, I didn't catch it.
He was talking about it was some kind of orcs versus some kind of, like, Imperial humans.
So we're sticking with the theme of having a 7-wound Imperial human team in every box.
I get why they do it.
Yeah.
But I thought that the reason that there were so many in Season 2 of the last edition was so that they have stuff to go along with the Inquisitors.
Right.
Like, I thought it was all a long con to make the Inquisitors work. Maybe there's, like, a second Inquisitor team.
I hope so. I really love the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of the main rumors floating around in the toilet bowl of online Kill Team discourse.
Yeah.
And they're exciting. And, you know, all of us will be put out of our misery soon enough, and then we can meet back here or in our Discord or in Glass's Discord or whatever and talk shit about what happened and how we all knew it was going to be that all along. Okay, so let's talk about what we would like. Kind of our dream scenario.
If a new edition comes out?
Yeah.
Are we starting new animations here?
Yeah.
Okay. Dream number 1.
You're going to hate this. Dream number 1 for me is that compendium support remains through the next edition. By that I mean, like, that all of the compendium teams come with it and are given rules that suit the next edition. And if it's just kind of a tweaking of editions, like, because kind of some people have speculated that it's not going to be very different, then I think that would be easy and cool. But I do think that the compendium is still a great way to play Kill Team. I know a bunch of people that kind of strictly play compendium. I think it's a great way to get people into the game that, like, have Warhammer. It's an easy way for people to go to a game store and be able to look at all of the boxes instead of just the little orange ones.
Yeah.
I think the compendium's really valuable, and I hope that it doesn't go away because I dig it, and I wish that there was more interest in it because I think that, you know, like, games don't always need to be maximum competitive, right? Like, games between two kind of lower power level compendium teams can be a good time.
I just hope that if they do the compendium again, they try and make the compendium teams at least a closer spot to on par with the rest of the bespoke teams. Like,
sure,
it would have been nice if they had TAC Ops,
like faction TAC
Ops. So that was one thing they were missing, and it would have been nice if, you know, some balance consideration was put into them.
Well, but they were all balanced pretty well against each other for a while.
Were they?
Well, you know, there were better ones but they were working, like, when they released like 30 teams with the game at once, and so of course, like, there were going to be some broken things.
Yeah, they also didn't know what they were doing probably at first because it was like the brand new edition, completely from scratch, and they're like learning as they go.
You know, they probably like didn't know for sure that there would be a tournament scene. You know, it's like some of that is kind of on faith, and you know, obviously the game is done very, very, very well. And so I hope that people outside of Kill Team who are inside of Warhammer have a way in coming up. Wish number 2.
Those.
Are we on?
Is this my wish?
Wish B, yes.
Okay, my wish that I know you disagree with is throw obscuring in the garbage.
Oh, I hate that
or
so
rework
much.
It. Here's the thing. There's 2 aspects to this rule. There's mechanics and there's, like, actual usability. If you're just looking at mechanics, you already understand it. You're, like, committed to playing this game.
Right.
And you're just talking, like, the functionality and the competitiveness of the rule. Not that I'm competitive at all,
right.
but coming
But
at
you
it
try
from,
to win.
Coming at it from like
Yeah.
purely a functioning rule, I think it's fine. I think it does its job. It makes sense in an abstract way of like, oh, some guy's running way back there behind a building and it's hard to get a shot off.
Yeah.
However, there are a few things that make this rule very tough for me. First thing, learning this rule is annoying because it's got abstract concepts.
Right.
It's like, it's on a very different level of thinking than every other rule in this game, in my opinion.
Yep.
And it's like, you have to look at the FAQs with the diagrams, and it's like, there are things that don't make sense. Like, there can be a part of a big rectangular building, and you're on top of it, and just because a building's there, but your mini couldn't even see that part of the building, but just because it's there, like, technically, a building being hollow or solid would make a difference.
Right.
Of whether someone's obscured or not. It makes no sense because your mini, it makes no difference to your mini. Like, they couldn't see, there's no windows. It's just a solid block. Like, it doesn't make sense. There's a lot of situations where just like from a rules perspective, functionally it makes sense, but when you're actually thinking about it, it's like, this shouldn't make a difference. Like, weird niche cases. Also, there's a lot of instances where like a guy's up here on a building and another guy's over here, and you're trying to find like, at what point does it cross this point in the middle of them?
Yeah.
And it's like, you're kind of eyeballing it, you don't really know, and it's kind of ambiguous. I just think whether you're behind cover or not is simple.
Right.
You're either within an inch of the cover or you're not. It's simple.
Yeah.
But obscuring, there's a lot more like...
You have to be more than 2 inches.
It's like a weird... It's a weird spot where you can't easily measure it a lot of the time. And it's like very counterintuitive. So for teaching people... It's awkward, and I just think it feels bad.
I get all of that.
Even if it functions, like, once you know it and once you get it, it functions, it doesn't mean it fits the rest of the game. And it's like the one rule that's like 20 times more obtuse than every other rule in the game, and without that, I think the game as a whole would be much more accessible.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, and I I've heard all of the complaints about obscuring, and I get it, and I've also found it extremely frustrating for a while. But when you look at like what a game of 40K is a simulation of versus what Kill Team simulates, it's like 2 armies on a battlefield versus like 10 operatives in close quarters. And if you think about, I don't know why this is always the example that comes to mind, but Lee Harvey Oswald in the Texas Schoolbook Repository can see JFK. But JFK and the Secret Service agents cannot see Lee Harvey Oswald, right? And this is something that I think a tactical skirmish game needs to have. Like, you need this element of the guy in the window can see out, but the people on the ground can't see in the window. And it must be a hell of a thing to come up with the mechanics for this. And I totally get, and I do think that obscuring is like 100% too obtuse and hard to, like, it's a hard square to circle or circle to square, whatever the expression is. But I do think that something for that specific interaction needs to exist in the game. One thing I've been thinking about and kind of quietly checking to myself in my games, if you measured obscuring and line of sight stuff from the head of the model instead of the base, I think it would be a lot clearer, because you would have less of those interactions where you're standing on a box and this wall of the box is obscuring you, because your head can see over it, right? Like, your base is always, the line is always going to go through it. And that'll help it make more sense from like a model to model perspective, but you're always going to have people exploiting it at tournaments. And I know that it's tough to balance a game for people like us that just want to play games and enjoy a game, and also people that are in it to win events, right? Like, that's why they play the game. And it is hard to balance a game and balance rules for both sets of people.
I don't know. I just feel like just because the rule functions doesn't mean it's a good rule.
No, totally. Yeah. I think it could definitely use improvement.
Yeah.
Wish number 3, and this one I can almost promise you isn't going to come true, is that somehow fewer games are decided by who has initiative in Turning Point 2. Or 3.
Yeah.
But it really feels like that so often, like when off camera, when we're like filming these games and we roll for initiative, often in Turning Point 2 we say, like, should we roll to see who wins the game? And it ends up being that a lot of the time. Feels bad in a tight game.
There was like a universal ploy where if you go second, you can get a free double activation.
That'd be interesting.
You know?
Yeah.
One turning point in the game. when you don't have initiative, you can double activate your first activations.
That'd be cool.
I don't know.
Because there's a thing in Sigmar, right? That like there's
know.
like a whole Sigmar mechanic about like going second and then first, right? It's like having the double activation is like a huge deal, but it's like the trade-off is then your opponent. I think. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure this is something they've thought about, and I don't pretend to be smart when it comes to this kind of stuff, but I do think they probably thought about it. I do think it's probably not going to change.
Yeah,
but maybe we'll find out.
I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. We're going to find out so soon.
Yeah.
Any other big wishes for the next big kill team thing?
I have a wish.
Yes.
I wish that even if it's a flying focus, basic open world maps still exist.
Totally, yeah.
You know?
I also wish for more purpose-built kill team terrain.
I have one more wish.
Okay.
I wish to thank our 1 HP gangsters and mountain goats!
We'll talk to you after Saturday when we all know more about what's going on.
All right. Peace.